good evening, everybody. Sorry I am late. I was fighting my equipment again, so don't mind me. Still fighting my equipment as we speak, but I figured why not go live. Alright, there we go. Better. Alrighty, so I don't like that. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry about that. Alrighty, so hold on one second. Can you guys hear me okay? Oops. I have not, no. Alright guys, we're going to give everybody just a few minutes here. We're going to go ahead and get started. No delays. I want to go ahead and get through this. One of the reasons why I started early tonight. One second. Alright, perfect. Good to go. What's up? Good evening, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and alert the Discord, let everybody know. Alright, so hopefully you guys had a good day. Those of you who joined us on YouTube, or those of you who prepped with us last night, and obviously those of you in the Discord, had a pretty damn good day. Had an unusual open, but finally I think investors pulled the trigger and we saw the rally that we were looking for. Some stocks not so much. Some stocks we actually got to moving, so I was happy with that. I'm gonna go live now. There. Perfect. Alright, I'm all done. Alright, I just alerted everybody, so I'm going to go ahead and get started, guys. This is recorded for that reason. Alright, let's get this going. Oh, I don't want to enhance my face. I just want the regular old filter. Alright. So, let's start with a recap of today. So, we also are going to go over earnings today, kind of Hey, what's up, Mobile Cop? What's up, Fredo? Good evening. Oh, I'd love it if dude, that was insane. Pierre, if you were here, that was absolutely crazy. I was blown away at the tenacity, maybe even a little impressed. Yo, thank you. Those of you who have Twitter accounts that retweet this live, I really appreciate that. That is not asked for and very appreciated when you do. So, what's up, Jeffrey? Long time no see, man. Yo, yo. I can't really say your screen name on live on YouTube, but what's up, Steoner with a Bioner? That's the safe way to say that. Alrighty, so let's get to the news, guys. Big day today. Definitely saw after hours is where the biggest movements happened, but S&P closing print, we were up 0.60%, NASDAQ up 0.78%, Russell up 1.81%. I don't know why my brain just quit working there for a millisecond. The Dow Jones up 0.78% as well. We kind of nailed that Russell breakdown here. So all indexes finished green. S&P and NASDAQ both up above all-time highs. Financial and energy were standout sectors. XLF flew 1.31%, and the XLE accelerated to 1.13%, likely because of the Biden administration potential for these energy stocks and EV renewable stocks to start moving. So Hood plunged 27.6% today and nearly gave up all of yesterday's gains after early investors filed to sell the stock. Oh my god. I'm sorry, that just makes me kind of laugh. Anyway, earnings round is fully stocked, so we're gonna check out Space, Moderna, Datadog, all that good stuff. Ethereum moved up another 3% or 8.66% yesterday before the London update. Bitcoin is back at 40 and 41K. Guys, my price target of 43.5 and 44K on Bitcoin before we see a rejection, I think still stands. Who knows? I haven't looked at it in about an hour, so I'll have to go check on it. So Datadog. This is actually a stock that one of our admins, Astro, he's fond of, and I'm fond of him for bringing it to us. But this one burst 15.26% into new highs after beating both its top and bottom lines. The earnings per share was about 9 cents versus the 3-cent estimate. Revenue was $234 million versus the that was up 67% year over year. Datadog is up 34.5% year over year. So. Beautiful, dude. Yeah, coin was a great mover, Jeffrey. Nice job, man. Jeffrey, I'm really happy, man. That's what it's all about, dude. Check Rumble Kong League on OpenSea, new NFT game. Okay. Can you post a video on Benzinga? I didn't get to see it before it got deleted. Yes, I can. I will do that relatively soon. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to it. So Datadog up 34.5% year to date. This Virgin Galactic Space posted acceptable second quarter revenue. The company also announced that ticker sales have been resumed. ticket sales, excuse me. So they are selling tickets. No way. Anybody want to go to space? EPS is 39 cents. Earnings per share was 39 cents compared to the 33 cent estimate. Revenue was 571,000. No comparable revenue year over year. Space actually spiked up 4.8%, so I'm not quite sure if we're going to see that gap fill. Moderna achieved a significant profit increase in the second quarter after selling 199 million doses of its COVID-19 vaccine. Its earnings per share was $6.46 versus the $6 estimate. Revenue was up 604. Hold on, pause. Moderna's revenue was up 6,463% at a whopping $4.35 billion. They fell 0.67% after hours. Real quick, hold on one second. We're going to go and kind of go over some of the top. Beyond Meat, they missed. That was no surprise there. We did see, what was it? Zillow was another big one that felt pulled back here. Let's see, where's Zillow? Oh, it didn't actually, excuse me, not pulled back, but basically is going to open up flat, unfortunately. But this one dipped really hard. Airbnb may see some reprieve if anybody took that call. If anybody took the Airbnb, you were up a good bit on that. I mean, those were 32-cent contracts. But anyway, let's go back over and puts on mRNA. Yeah, right. Uh-oh. DJ with the police butts. That's so good. Can I look at Netflix? Absolutely, I will. Yes. Yeah, we'll get there. Okay, so we are going to go and take a look at our major ETFs, but before we do that, guys, we have to go and prepare for tomorrow. Now, if you don't see this already, tomorrow is a big day, and 8:30 is, so before the bell. Thank goodness. I'd rather have a high impact news come before the bell rather than towards the bell, so we don't get that choppy open. Rather just see that movement that we want to see. So we have non-farm payrolls, private payrolls, unemployment rate, average hourly earnings, and average work week coming in at 8:30 Eastern time. And all of those, as you can see here, hopefully you can see, yes you can. As you can see here, this is high impact. So what that means is, and I wonder if it would help. There we go. So what this means is before the bell, this is going to be a huge catalyst. There isn't very many earnings, DKNG's earnings at the bell. But other than that, the earnings that happen tonight going into tomorrow, if these are not negative, we don't see a decrease in the unemployment rate and non-farm payrolls, then I would suspect that potentially the earnings sentiment could push us forward. But again, this is Fridays. I'll reiterate this just in case those of you new. A lot of professional traders or top traders don't even trade on Fridays because a lot of times it's extremely low volume. Now it is earnings, so I think a lot of people are amped up, so we may see a higher than usual volume, but that'll be something we'll have to take as it comes. There's no use in trying to predict whether or not there's going to be volume, but it is something to keep in mind. And if these are questionable, we could trade flat as we approach next week and the data that comes with that. So all right, let's see here. We're gonna go take a look at SPY. All right, so finally, guys, this is pretty crazy, to be honest with you. The fact that SPY has finally, now I would say finally, but we saw the same thing here, and we also saw this crazy wick right and after hours. But this wick also bounced off of what could be a potential, or not what could be, but what is a support here. Why is my line going crazy? There we go. So right here, boom, bada bing. Nice bounce. So it looks like if we can hold, or even if we trade flat, we could go for a support bounce here. So as long as we hold up above that 441 mark, 441.25, I would suspect that we could potentially see SPY hold these all-time highs, at least for the time being. We have been chopping around in this channel for quite some time, and there's nothing to say that we won't lose this level. I do like the fact that the 9-day moving average is holding us up, and we did get a nice green spike in volume there towards the end of the day. I will also say I'm not against the wick bouncing off of that support rather than us going and testing it tomorrow. Maybe that's the test that we needed here. So just set your alerts here. We're going to watch how this opens tomorrow. If it decides that it wants to pull back, and if you look, there's probably a lower time, not probably, there is a lower time frame support right here. Okay, so you can kind of look at it like a level in that way, where if it ends up breaking this 9 somewhere around here, and I'm trying not to confuse you guys, but if you see, this was a rejection or a breakout point, this line that I just put up there. So more than likely, if we break that very same level that we broke out from, so that 441 level, then I would suspect we'll see SPY back down around the 440.25 level, which is pretty bad, pretty decent drop, but well within the range in which SPY could fall if sentiment is not on par. As far as the Qs are concerned, we talked about the Qs needing to break over this 368.85 level. That was at previous all-time highs. We talked about how it was curled up and pretty much compressed on support, and we really needed to see a bounce. Well, we got our bounce, so hopefully if we hold this uptrend, same as SPY, so anywhere, and you can see the 20-day moving average here has been bounced off of multiple times. So there is the potential that we retest the very same level that we broke. So if we pull back on non-farm data, maybe watch for a gap down right around the 368.80 level, and then maybe we go for that gap fill in the morning. So watch for some gaps tomorrow with that data coming in. So we'll watch this as it comes, but of course anywhere above 370, and we are off to the river. So IWM, so we absolutely freaking nailed this analysis, guys. I was really happy with the way that this ran, and one of the reasons why, I'll try and explain it a little bit better now that we have a little bit more time. One of the reasons why I felt that it was going to bounce, not just because I wanted it to, but because I saw respect, and that's all that stocks want. They just want respect. But anyway, 214.85. This wick right here on the 3rd, that wick showed me that there was, coming off of this bottom, a support in range. Now, when we hit that support, we flattened. Now, when you see this type of price action on a support level, I don't know if anybody took snow with me today, but I took snow and around, I think it was the 275, 276 level, and this thing pushed up with the very same setup that we see there. Basically, nice, clean break and downtrend. But anyway, with IWM, this one has the potential EMA crossover here. It ended with a flag. Let's see here. Let me pull that back. Okay. So if we can hold this flag right here and hold these moving averages, and volume stays up like it has today, it wasn't crazy, but it was up enough that we went for that break and downtrend. But let's see here. I mean, as long as it holds this flag and it holds this 221.55 level, then I imagine that IWM will stay in trend. So it's a little too early to tell, but whenever I see that type of compression and it doesn't break that low, that leads me to believe that, you know, this is a well-respected support. And like I said, I saw that same setup on snow, and it gave us that nice clean break and downtrend. So you can see here, snow just sitting compressed up against support and then finally popping up. So All right, so IWM, we got the Dow, and we are off to it. So the Dow just moving kind of on crack. This one had a gap today, and then went for the gap fill, pulling off a flag today, and then going almost finishing the gap fill, but not quite. But this one trading in range, heavy range trading here. It's kind of disorienting a little bit. Like to see it make a new high or something. But it just continues to trade in range. Max R, yo, that's one of my favorite companies. This man just hopped in here and said Max R. If you guys hop on YouTube, I will take your request there. And I will absolutely look at Max R. I love that shit. It's one of my favorite. I hold that long term. Me and the California Retirement Fund. I'm not in that though. The retirement fund anyway. Okay, so oh, Georgie, yes. Sorry. Coming. Yes.
And we buy back all the time.
You guys wish to join the YouTubes?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to YouTube.
Hello, YouTubes. We come in peace.
Hello, YouTube.
We're just thinking about you, man. You're ignoring us.
It's not you, it's me, okay? I push love away when I shouldn't, and it's
just like Baidu.
Just like Baidu.
Yeah.
Just like Baidu.
What's up? So I actually just finished going over major ETFs.
I heard about the Max Art, so I said something getting heated.
Yeah, exactly. Those of you just joining, we're on YouTube right now. If you guys have requests and stuff like that, so thanks, Jay Hizzy. Alrighty, so I'm gonna take. I don't know if you can even hear my music, but I'm gonna turn it off. Okay, I wanted to talk to them too, because there was, first of all, I have some questions that I want Atlas to answer that I know that me fumbling through is not going to help anybody. But the implications of, I know obviously payroll and stuff like that, job, non-farm payrolls, unemployment rates, and hourly earnings can be impactful. Do you think this can be like a turning point? I remember last time that these numbers came in, we saw a lot of volatility. So
100%, man. I mean, so the ADP numbers came out earlier this week. I think it was yesterday, right? The ADP numbers came out yesterday, the day before. And so ADP is never as accurate as like the government numbers, and it's because it's a private company. The ADP, what they do is essentially they help prep payroll for a bunch of companies. Like they're the biggest one in the country, and so a lot of companies will look to them for kind of like guidance. Like, can you tell us what the overall jobs numbers look like? And so a lot of people will kind of look to their guidance and see how they're projecting numbers. And theirs was pretty low. I would say, if I'm not mistaken, their number came in at like 300,000. Let's see here. Here it is. Okay, latest July ADP payroll figure made uncomfortable reading with a disappointing read of 330K. Representing the lowest level since February. So our prior number was 692, and it was revised to 680. Yeah. So we were anticipating to be anywhere between the 600 to 850,000 level. There was, I think it was not Gensler, it was one of the Fed chairs that was talking yesterday. The guy who was like super hawkish about tapering.
Yeah.
He was. Do you remember his name? I don't remember his name.
I can't remember his name. No, I've heard it 1,000 times though.
He was like, I could definitely see non-farm payroll coming out and being close to 1 million pretty soon, and this would allow us to even speed up tapering. Well, if ADP is accurate, now, we're going to get our solid number here tomorrow, but if ADP is accurate or close to what's actually projected by the government tomorrow, then we're nowhere close to 1 million, right? We're well below that. We're well below estimates. So in this instance, what that tells me is that recovery is still not underway, and that the Fed is going to be unlikely to taper, and they're not going to be as hawkish until the next set of numbers come out. Now, if we see the Fed coming out and still being hawkish after these numbers, especially with the actual numbers coming in low, I'm going to be really, really surprised.
Right.
And I'll be honestly, I'll be a little concerned, because even whatever his name is, I forgot his name, the Fed, one of the Fed chairs that was talking, he said if we taper, there's not going to be a taper tantrum.
That's cute.
And I said, I don't understand. Like, I forgot who I was talking to. I was talking to someone yesterday in the chat, and I said, I don't understand how he thinks there's not going to be a taper tantrum. Like, you're going to stop tapering, okay, and then you're going to raise interest rates.
Yeah.
Like, how is that not going to cause a taper tantrum? And if anybody that's on YouTube or on live doesn't know what a taper tantrum is, I want you to go back to the S&P chart, go to SPY's chart, and go to the weekly chart. Make it easy on yourself, and go all the way to December of 18.
Got you.
October of 18 is really when you see it. October is when you see that inflection point down, and look from there all the way until December. And from October to December, you just see S&Ps just pure red. And it was because the Fed raised interest rates. There was also a little bit of conversation going on about trade between us and China, which was becoming an issue, but that didn't really become an issue until a little bit further down. But taper tantrums are a big issue for the market, and raising interest rates are a big issue for the market, because people will pull cash out and go to bonds. Now, you got to think, me and you are not pulling cash out and going to bonds. Right. Your next door neighbor who is, has $500,000 of his 401k is not going to go to all bonds, because he's not going to make a return. It's going to be somebody with deep pockets. It's going to be the banks. Some hedge funds will go to bonds. We won't, right? But that's a lot of money leaving the market. Well, so, go ahead.
No, I was just going to go ahead. I was just going to read this statement from the economic calendar from briefing.com that I thought you might think was interesting. So go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, I mean, I was kind of wrapping it up.
No, you're good. So right now it says the big picture, the key takeaways for the market is that it's apt to convince the Fed that there is a need to take additional time to watch the incoming data before it moves to lessen its dovish-minded accommodation. That the tell in that respect is that the June employment situation still fell short of the Fed's stated goal to get employment back to maximum employment in the broad basis, based and inclusive fashion, as it showed much higher rates of unemployment for minority groups and little movement in participation rates. And so, I mean, just looking at that, I think I'm anticipating that we're still going to see this trend continue, where they're not going to lean towards that more hawkish. So I have to agree with you. Right now, the prior was 850K. Right now, the forecast is 900K. So, and that's for the non-farm payroll.
So You bring up a very good point in reading that, and that was something that I forgot to mention earlier. And it kind of, when you started talking about what the minority, like it brought it up. Um, Chairman Powell said that there are certain goals that he has from an employment perspective that are not the general numbers as well, and that in itself covers minorities.
Right.
And those targets, like not being biased here or anything, guys, I am a person of color. I will throw that out there. Those targets are much harder to hit. It's just how it is. Sorry if anybody's getting offended. Not my intent here. As a person of color,
I mean, you could. That's a whole other conversation that
of course
you could dig into forever. But the fact of the matter is whether you want to talk about job opportunities in areas where people where more minorities live. That's evident across the country. So I mean, like, there's a multitude of different factors, but
exactly. So that's kind of where I'm getting at, is those targets are much harder to hit. But here's the thing, here and I think, and I hate to say, and I hate to phrase it this way, but what's going to happen is they're going to get to a point where they're just going to say, you know what, we're going to forget about those targets.
Right.
Because they're not going to continue to taper if 80% of the people are finding jobs. The other, or not taper, I'm sorry, they're not going to continue to print money if 80% of the people are finding jobs. They're going to say, 80% of the minority population is finding jobs. The other 20%, whatever, of the different minority, they're going to say, we tried, whatever, we got to move on, because you're not going to, like, essentially continue to fund an entire economy for a smaller percentage. It's just not going to make sense. It's not fiscally possible. But I will say it will keep them from tapering earlier.
Yeah.
So it'll give growth stocks and big tech more time to run. Now, the one thing that I will say has been a little bit interesting is that in this market, especially with like big tech running, big tech has been running, but like growth stocks have been lagging behind. Really, I feel pretty bad. I mean, when I say growth stocks, I mean, I think of, your Fubos, I think of your PLTRs, I think of your Upstart, I think of your, GRWG,
Maxar as a growth
Airbnb.
stock.
Yep. Like, they've been lagging behind. They're not your Jamias.
Well,
right?
You don't have people putting big money into the growth looking long term, because I think they know that the inevitable is coming.
And that's the thing. But another view I have about it too is, could they, for another short run, could we see another short run like we did in January, where everything just went insane for like 3 weeks? By the way, Bitcoin is up 7%. It's at $40,234 in the last 13 hours. Wow.
I don't know if you can see my chart on YouTube right now for Bitcoin.
But no, because when I go on YouTube, it echoes. It's so weird.
I'll just mute the YouTube. But if you look at this chart here, I'll post it in live trading. I've had, I don't want to sound like a goober, but I've had this price mark predicted on Bitcoin for almost 2 months. Look at that. Dude, I sent this chart to somebody who does crypto shit, and they straight up sent one of those like cringe faces back to me. And I was like, you know what? I'm sticking to this shit. I think we make a rounded bottom. Does anybody remember? That shit's on YouTube. I will go look for it. But I literally thought, I was like, we get a rounded bottom, something of that nature. Oh God.
I could definitely see that. What were you gonna say, Georgie? Before I continue, I was gonna say something else, but I didn't want to interrupt you, Georgie, because I know you're gonna say something.
I forgot what I wanted to say. Anyway, just carry on.
Nah. So let me. I remember you posting that chart, Garrett. Let me post. I'm gonna post the chart real quick, because mine's a little different than yours, but it's a little different, but it's close. I have it making a slightly different movement there. And I think it's just because of where I was thinking the turning around point would be. See if I can find it anymore. I have so
Oh
many
my
different
god,
charts.
yo, that's dope.
What's
I can
up?
create a poll on YouTube.
Yeah. So here's what so mine fell out and then came back in. My chart also looks like a freaking mess, so let me kill the indicators.
Alrighty.
Yes.
Once you get done with that, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go over a couple of today's plays. But I also wanted to any earnings that you guys in particular are watching going into tomorrow. I wanted your guys' thoughts on that one as well. So,
See, look at that. Look at what I had in live. I wanted it to stay within that triangle, and then that's where it broke down and then came back in. But I've had that drawn since the original point where it stayed in the triangle and didn't bounce and actually broke through the downside.
If you were to run that second line or that lower line off the bodies, off the top of that first green candle body, that the angle of that will take you to the high that you're at now.
Yep.
That's why I did that. So.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I see what you're saying.
We just 11 on chat. Come to YouTube, Sushi. Come to YouTube.
Sushi's eating sushi.
So funny. We used to have Sushi X as well. Okay, let's see here. 1 second, I'm gonna tag everybody. So we're gonna recap a couple of today's plays really quick, and then if you guys have any earnings, let me know. Otherwise, if you guys want to give me any inputs on some of these stocks we go over. Let me share my screen so that way you guys can see what the hell I'm talking about. I think Apple may pull back here in the next couple days. Apple's looking very, very weak.
Yeah, it's been thin.
My whole ribbon indicator's thinning out as well. Dividends is about to hit. I think people are going to take profit once they get that stickety stack from Apple. They're going to take profit after dividends, and we're going to dump into earnings. I have a price target of 134.50. If anywhere 135 actually. I might take one out going into October. Why do stocks go down after earnings? Because it's the same reason why you come down off of any substance, or you fall when you come off of a ladder. You shouldn't if you do it correctly, but what comes up must come down, and usually the sentiment that pushes stocks up going into earnings gets them priced in, so whether or not they do well or not, the stocks tend to already be in the range, and if not, they tend to pop so hard in after hours that there's no more room to run, whether that be to the up or the downside. So that being said, it all depends on the earnings, but we've seen earnings and that shit opens up and he just dies for the rest of the day, or goes up.
We've seen earnings that it gaps up in pre-market and just absolutely goes bananas during the trading session and continues to run for 20-30 bucks. We've seen earnings where it gaps up in pre-market and absolutely dumps at open. So it's hard to predict, but it's all about investor sentiment, right?
Yeah.
How was their guidance? How was their performance? If their performance was good and their guidance is better than the Wall Street expected, it's going to more than likely move up. If guidance is down and performance is down, it's more than likely going to fall. So it's pretty simple formula.
All right, guys. So you guys are on. Sorry, I'm trying to tag everybody. Wow, I'm trying to spell. I just spelled the same word 6 times. Slow down. Yep. Okay. Sorry about that. Oh shit. Okay, so today, if you guys caught any of the plays that we snagged today, Square obviously was the biggest surprise or runner. This one, the contracts, I get why people play Square when they do, because this shit rips. And Square actually climbed in and went above all-time highs, finished by retesting the very same level that it rejected last time, which is 281.50. Not the worst target to go rest on. And if anything, I think I said this, the pullback right now is nice and controlled. So if you go and you check out this chart on Square on the 5 minute, you'll see that the tapering looks, or if you want to call it tapering, but it's just being pulled back nice and steady. Looks like some steady profit taking. Simple retest on the hourly, but it looks really, really good for a potential bounce if and only if we see movement tomorrow. But I do really like that it retested this very same level that it broke out at that 280 mark. So I'd like to see it bounce tomorrow. Otherwise, of course, if the market pulls back, then we could see Square back down and retesting the 276 level. But this one broke out of this rising channel. And it's a little choppy in here. There's a lot of wicks. I know a lot of people were feeling with the Affirm news once Square reacted negatively that it could affect them, but after they touted the strength in Afterpay, I don't think there's any doubt that Square's likely a powerhouse and going to continue to be, and probably a $300+ company, in $350+ company in the next couple of years. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Let's see here.
For Square?
For Square, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, easy, yeah.
Oh, one thing I will say, and I agree with you guys both here, is that what blew my mind is that half the revenue was generated from holding, let me rephrase it, not just from holding, but holding and people buying and selling crypto. That to me was like, wow, that's awesome. Like they were able to just generate, and they blew out, and I don't know if anybody else on the stream noticed this. They blew revenue by 100%. That is a huge feat for such a big company.
I was just
to blow revenue by 100%.
That's insane. I mean, that's like Apple blowing revenue by 100%. Like
exactly.
Their estimates are so crazy. Yo, Sushi's meme. That dude. You know what though? I'm a weird dude, and when I get hyped, dude, about stocks, I've done some crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, I be going ham.
I guess you did like this today with Facebook, Airbnb, and SQ.
Dude, everything, bro. I was like, ha! Like I almost blew my vocal cords out. I'm not even embarrassed anymore. I just am who I am, and I'm on a camera.
Yeah.
You guys see me. I know there's probably faces that I have yet to reflect on that you guys have seen. I'm sure there's loads of that. So.
Just need a little bit haircut.
How did I find Z? They had earnings. Zoom Info. I saw Zoom Info coming in. I actually saw Flow. I saw two flows coming in. They were long. They had long expirations on them. But I also saw that they had earnings. Now this one got whacked originally here. But after a really strong move yesterday, and then this morning, I saw that it had an opening range breakout. And that alert will come in on your scanner, right? So that's one of my favorite things that catches my eye. Thank the Lord for ADHD, because I can somehow decipher which ones, what I look for, when I'm looking at Benzinga here, if you look in this bottom right hand corner with me, or even here, this is literally, if you guys saw this today, it moves so fast, and especially during earnings season, this shit is insane. But if I see, and my eyes are good at catching multiples, so if I see Naut came up, Nautilus Biotech, you guys caught that shit like crazy, but Nautilus came up, boom, 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 3 or 4 times, made a new session high, right? And then you have day high series, you have opening gaps, so that's the usefulness in the scanner. So once I looked at the actual stock. I love playing I love playing flat open earnings because that means that there's an implied move there. Somewhere in that stock, it's looking to make a move, and it usually, if it doesn't make a big move, it's squeezing in tight, and something's going to happen in the near future. So with a relatively flat open, or you gapped up and you fell hard, and then the bottom on that, you basically retested the very same $55 breakout level that you had before earnings, and the bounce off that was beautiful. And so looking at the volume, I also watched this one on the 4 hour. Now, one of the reasons that I really decided to take this one, and I took it right around here, was because of this wick. Now, this wick comes off of a 9-day moving average. That's your bullish moving average. The volume, obviously, extremely high in retrospect to what is usual. In fact, I believe this is some all-time highs for Zoom info. And to be honest, I don't know what the hell they do. Maybe they zoom into info closer. Maybe they help Zoom technologies.
So
I don't know if you want to fill me in.
So I forgot, somebody was mentioning to me. Oh, it was Heck. Heck was telling me that what they do is they provide like data on the executive suite in any company. So your CEO, CFO, your VPs of any company, and then sales, B2B sales companies will take that data and essentially use it, like Salesforce. You know, they have the Salesforce platform, but that you kind of like has a broader reach, whereas Zoom Info is more concentrated on the executives. So it's products that you would have to get executive approval to sell, right? So like, for example, and I'll give this really short. So like, for example, at my company, I can make decisions on purchasing certain things for the company, but I have like a threshold of where I can pay for that. After that, it's got to go to my VP or my director or whatever. But with certain products, they're like $2-3 million pieces of software. Okay, that's going to go straight to a VP. So you don't waste your time with Salesforce. You use Zoom Info instead.
Got you. Okay. So puts on sales first. Well,
good, right?
I'm actually. They didn't even have weeklies, or they didn't even have. I think I had August 20th, but I'm in the money on the runner, and one of the things that when I saw this bounce off the floor, guys, with big volume, I don't question myself when I see stuff like that. I know that if buyers really made the effort to take it from 58.95 on that bounce, whether you want to say it's the 20 or the 9, and the right here you go all the way back up at 61.60, right? So you're right back up there, that previous rejection point. There's no way, right? There's no way that this thing is going to reject there. It just would. If anything, maybe it finishes here with a tiny little, hammer top, but volume was so big, and that should be your number one prerequisite. I always think to myself, and granted, I'm on every day, and so one of my biggest temptations is over trading. But for somebody who wasn't and doesn't have to be on live, if your prerequisite was outstanding volume on whether it was 20 stocks, you watched 20 stocks and you had 5, 10 that were your favorite, and you set alerts, you knew what it takes to get that stock moving, right? Whether it's 25 million or 20 million, whatever is abnormal for that one, you go back, you study the chart, you see what gets it going, how does it move, what price action. So correlate the volume and the price action together and see what type of volume gives me the moves that I'm looking to capitalize on for the trader that I am. If I like those big moves, I need big volume, period. Stop trying to catch big moves on small volume, because the volume is telling you that there is no move there. And that's something that I know you guys just literally hear me talk about volume all freaking day, but that is just...
Yeah, that's why we always say watch the volume, watch the volume.
And Garrett, I will say, like, I was looking at the chart right now. I'm mind blown how quickly this thing sold off, but that was all profit takers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It gapped up, and they get worried, and then the worry it snowballs into. Guys, that's market makers rely on human nature. As long as humans continue to do what they do, they take advantage of that opportunity every single time. because as soon as it starts to snowball down after profit taking like that, it goes and it retests that the buy. Basically, you think of it like this. Like if you're looking at that chart, like basically, and I think I used the Red Rover example. And the more that I think about that example, the better I like it. You know what I mean? But like even when we go and we retest this, all of these buyers are still here. Like we had profit takers, but this is a nice strong level, this $55 level for Zoom Info. And so that's going to be your natural bounce level for this is that previous high or that previous zone. And if you go back, you can see this has been a rejection point or even a support multiple times. So I'm always looking for that original retest there. Now, granted, I would have loved to catch it at that $55 bounce, but I was thankful enough to be able to catch it right after this wick, because this wick to me was all I needed to see. High volume, big wick, nice MACD here, TTM squeeze going overboard, and so it was easy to go ahead and grab that for the wick fill here with big volume and let it ride with the expiration on my side. So Airbnb, I should go over that one, even though Georgie. This one could see consolidation tomorrow, but I see Zillow. I don't know. What do you think, Georgie? Zillow had earnings and they turned it around. At first they dumped, but they turned it around. I think that we saw Airbnb react to that because we made a little bit of cash on that end of the day pump where it started going towards 150.50, and of course. Looking at the 4 hour, the daily setup, it's holding support and it's got a nice EMA crossover as it heads into earnings. So, wondering if
even when we saw the SPY or the indices is like pulling back, Airbnb held and was just consolidated.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, it didn't pull back like other stocks.
Yep, that's very true. You guys can see that Airbnb, like Georgie said, rather than breaking any supports, it literally, look at these 5-minute candles. It almost looked algo traded for a short period of time because it was so flat and consolidated. And that's why one of the reasons why we took that trade towards the end of the day is because it was so I don't know how many candles it made on this one level, and then right towards the end of the day, volume started picking up, but no movement, and then all of a sudden it just started to move. So we'll see what happens when we open up tomorrow.
That's going to be an interesting trade tomorrow.
Yeah, that is going, and that's one that I would set some alerts on for sure. 148.50, and then the same level that we held 150. Really, the 150 break, 150.10. And of course, I think weeklies I think that weeklies will be lucrative tomorrow either way. They're really cheap. So
Airbnb usually when it makes this run during the day, it consolidates for like 2 days, then make a way either to the upside or to the downside.
Yeah, and right
2 days like this.
In the way that I see it right now, and I mean I'm not 100%. I'm pretty solid on my support for Airbnb here, coming off this low on January 19th. You can see multiple wicks off of the 50-day EMA. So the 50 EMA is where it's holding right now. The 50-day EMA, based on its projection now, I think we could see a retest of 148. Whether that just kind of tapers to the side, but I'm going to draw this out actually. So somewhere around there, you see the 50 EMA coming up. I imagine we'll see a retest there if we break below 148.66. That's that whole ribbon indicator base. And as you can see, the wick is already starting to show some resistance, or almost like a magnet pushing it away. Price action or volume today on Airbnb towards the end of the day was what was really kind of interesting to me, because it just...
It looked like bottom. Sorry. At the daily, it looked like double bottom.
Yeah. You said on the daily, let's take a look at it. Yeah, okay, so daily double bottom, and you're getting close to this. You could maybe even consider it like a supply zone. So I mean, like there's a lot that's occurring here in this zone. So I mean, hopefully you did get a break in downtrend, so that's great. But again, earnings are probably so close that I mean, Airbnb either. I personally think they're going to have a great earnings. I think they're going to blow expectations out of the water. I actually have thought about taking a contract on them for next week, like around the 160 range. And one of the reasons I have that range is just because that's that previous break point. But also, I mean, if you consider, and I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on this, but since last earnings, which was in May, we saw a big fat dip. But since May, we have most places have reopened. So I think this last coming quarter, will obviously be represented in earnings this time around. So in comparison, I think that based on the resurgence of air traffic, vacation time, people traveling all over. I actually, hear a lot of people expressing their comfortability with having Airbnbs over hotels, feeling that there's like a sense of like cleanliness. You're not huddled together inside of a giant thing. That's only from my perspective. That's not anything official, but anyway, I think Airbnb has a good move implied in it as well. So
the only thing I'm scared of with Airbnb, and I was long on 150s, and I took profit on those, and then I have some 180s that I've not gotten rid of yet. They're out to January, but the only thing that scares me is if they bring their guidance down because of Delta. A couple companies.
I don't think they will do this.
I don't think they will, but that's the only reason I don't want to swing options into that earnings. I might sell the option.
I should straddle it, but
I could definitely straddle it. The only problem is that, well, I could do a short term put against my long term call, because my call is out to January.
Right.
So I definitely still have time. But I'm still a little out of the money on those, because what I did is I sold my 150 for profit and rolled it into a 180 out to January, because my 150 was September expiration. So
good question. So Fredo asked, how do you see or foresee big volume at the moment? I'm gonna end the poll. Thank you guys for voting on the poll. Anyway, I'm ridiculous. I'm sorry. Anyway, so Fredo asked, how do you see or foresee big volume at the moment as it's happening? I see big volume in retrospect, but not at the moment as it's happening. So I don't know. Oops, the message just disappeared. I don't know if it's going to have big volume. Sorry, that just scared my
That's a really good question.
That is a great question. So for me, and there could be different answers for this one, but I'm going to use SQ as an example. Now, for me, the tape is probably your best friend. The speed of the tape, and if you're familiar with the way a company moves, you'll know whether the tape is moving irregularly, and what I mean by that is it's moving extremely fast. And then at the same time, I use multiple time frame analysis in combination with using that tape. I can see as it starts to speed up, pick up speed towards breakout points. Normally, if a stock is going to start reaching for or breaking into a breakout range or breaking out period, it's going to need big volume. And in order to break that, you're going to have to sustain that volume. So I look for continuation in volume and spikes, especially after 10 o'clock. If you get after 10 o'clock volume or high volume. In fact, AMD is another really, really good example. AMD had, and you look back over the previous runs up. Here, let's actually do this. So whenever I'm watching volume, right, you would have seen on AMD when you first saw it break out, or earnings, whatever the case may be, right around that $96 level, $100 level, you would have been looking back, right, and seeing that the average volume here on AMD was relatively low. And you could even draw a line right here, right? So as each, whether it be hourly or 5 minute, one of those volume candles goes and breaks that average, that's kind of another indication that the stock will continue, especially if there's a catalyst. So there's almost like a magic formula, right? You want to have some type, and usually high volume always comes in when you have technical breakouts where you get short-term bursted volume, but they may not sustain themselves. Then you get news catalysts like AMD, and they rip for 4 or 5 days, or they rip for 3 days with high volume. And so you're looking for that volume as it comes in. And like I said, I use the tape, so I'm watching the orders come in and the speed of the tape, the size of those orders, and that'll kind of give me an indication, because volume represents the amount of shares traded. So if I'm seeing regularly, I see 5,000 share, 10,000 share, and now I'm seeing 200, like something crazy coming in, like on the tape, it's going to be mean a little bit different, or something a little bit different to me, especially if I know that stock has a breakout. But do you guys want to add anything to that? Hopefully that wasn't ultra confusing.
No, that was pretty spot on, man. I mean, the one thing that I do to like confirm that there is high volume is I look at the tape and then I go down to the 1 minute and zoom really far out. Like I just drag my wheel.
There you go.
And look at like all the past few days. Okay, well this 1 minute right now, the past 5 1 minute candles with volume bars are like 3 times the size of any normal 1 minute volume bars that we've had in the past 4 days. And I'm like, okay,
exactly.
High volume, let's go.
Yep. And here's the thing, guys. I'm going to show you how to do this right now. If you don't have TradingView, you have to pay for the premium version. We have a discount for that if you want the code. I got to get that post whipped up, but I've been ultra busy, stupid busy. But anyway, this is what I like to do. Okay. What are the rules for building your trading plan is to react to the market. So in order to do so, you got to put alerts on the market. You gotta have alerts on the prerequisites. What do you look for when you're looking to take a trade? And when I'm putting volume is always obviously number one for me. But you can go up here. So let's start on the 4 hour for AMD. So look back, right? There we go. So this volume that we have here is comparable to volume back in September of 18, or August of 2018. And as you can see, that made a pretty good move from the $15, $16, $13. This is when my buddy, one of the people in our group actually first bought AMD. The guy who works for Disney, or he did the Avenger films. He's been holding AMD since 11. But anyway, the volume here showing really, really big movement. AMD crushing, moving all the way to $34 from that $9, $10 mark. So we know that this volume right here, that's the volume that we need to see those big moves. Then secondly, we can even go here. Now, regardless of whether you want to say, that the volume is, or that you didn't get the kind of price movement that you want, this is extremely tradable movement here on AMD going back to February of last year, which I can't believe that shit was in the $50. Anyway, AMD still had a price range from 59 all the way to 35. So if you can't trade that, there's a lot of money to be had in this range. And with the volume there, that's a key indicator. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to identify what type of volume moves the stock. Now I can start on the daily, and that's always going to be the best way to kind of start an overview. But we can go back here. So let's see. Looks like, oof, my God, obviously those were a little cheaper, but 165 million. Let's see what happens over here. We got 135 million. The volume as of recent was around 115, even up into the 225 million. Highest volume here, 300 million shares traded in a session or in a day. So that's a good place to start. So what we can do here is we can either be moderate and we can set an alert on our volume MA. So you see this little orange line here? I can set an alert on that. So whatever the volume that I want, or at least a minimum of the volume that I'm looking for when I'm wanting to get into a trade, because you are the deciding factor on why you're getting into a certain trade. And if volume, which it should be, unless you're opening up spreads or selling calls on INTC or whatever the case may be, it's a good stock to do it on. But the volume is crucial. So you can have this only once, but I recommend having this either you can do once per bar close or once per bar. So every time that this gets this prerequisite gets met, you can go from there. So I have this volume right now, alert at 137 million. Now that's for the daily, and that's going to give me the indication that there is high volume. 300 to 225 million is what it takes to send AMD on a parabolic scale. That may not happen for another 3, 4, 5 months, but at least you'll know when it does occur, so you can capitalize on it when it does. In between, doesn't matter. If you like the company and you're long on it, stay long on it. AMD probably has a retracement coming when everything does end up falling down, probably all the way back down into I would say it could retest 100 real hard. But it could even see back somewhere back into the 90s if the volume drops off from where it's at. But 137 is a good place to mark that. Now we can go from the daily and we go down to the hourly, right? So the hourly volume, an hourly candle here, 22 million shares traded in a single candle. That's that hourly breakout, and we get a nice price range from $91 all the way to $95. That's a nice spike there, and a lot of traders could be done trading with just that single bounce there. So we can go ahead and we can set an alert on that very same thing, and you can either set an alert on that particular volume, or you can go here and click on volume MA, which is the moving average, which is that orange line, which is basically going to give you the average so that you don't have to set it there, and you can put once per bar. So that way, if it's your favorite stock and you want to know when it has the volume that you want, you'll get an alert on that. So what's the best way to learn the way I trade? Stalk me. Creep on me. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I'll have you arrested at once. No, I'm just kidding. I just watch on YouTube. Ask me questions when I say goofy shit like that. And I'll try and help you as best as I can. But the thing is you don't want to do what I do. You want to do what works for you. I'm an entirely different human being with different perspectives and all sorts of different stuff that makes me me. And it's the reason why I trade like I do. But offering my perspective and helping people with theirs is how they create something of their own, which is what you want to try to achieve.
Be you, just be you.
Just be you, or be Georgie. Because Georgie's a good, yeah, be you, be you. Actually, everyone look up be you now, so.
It's in Mexico.
Yeah, look, I'm just gonna add a point about the volume.
Yeah, go for it.
The reason why sometimes I see the volumes is, okay, I've got a trading view. I think most of the guys, you have trading view. But I think like not all of you know that trading view they got like really reliable screener. You can see the volume, you can see many things, so you can take advantage of that. So there where I catch most of the stocks that they are running or about to start running. Like if you remember when I did alert about the AMD around 86.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I see like really huge volume and unusual volume.
Yes, there you go. Unusual. Highly unusual. And that's crazy too, because we thought it was crazy volume until what? Today or yesterday? The 4th?
Yeah.
And what did Astro say? Sorry to interrupt you, but just so I don't forget this. Astro said, and I think this is something for all of you guys to keep in mind, when you have extreme high volume like this and it stays consistent. So look, you can draw a line right here, right? When it breaks that unusual high volume, it's likely hit a top. And look at that. The highest spike in volume was the last candle to make the last high. Interesting point there. Write that down. Anyway, Jordy, anything else? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, don't worry, you already did, so no problem.
Okay, so what's up?
No, I just wanted to let the guys know about the screener that's available in TradingView if they are
Georgie,
already.
do you want to share your settings? Like, just let people know like what you look for, like what settings you use.
I'll post it in the live trading.
Okay.
Okay.
That's for
yeah.
that's for the premium boys.
Got
Okay. Not just kidding. Okay, so Briston actually said use the previous candle left in the current candle to judge your volume direction. That's a good advice as well. That's basically same thing. So you're looking for that increasing volume. Quinn, your question on Lemonade, I think we would need to take a look at Lemonade's earnings. And I don't want to spend all night going over each and every earnings, but it wasn't good. And the same thing with UPS. I'm not gonna sit here and get spanked over and over again on UPS until my booty's raw. Because right now, UPS is just chopping in range from 194 all the way to 190. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, so if this just shuts off out of nowhere. No, I'm pretty sure you can say whatever you want. Anyway, UPS, I'm going to take this one as it comes. Today on Lemonade, you could have tried 1,000 different ways to try and figure out when and if and how this one was going to go down. Honestly, until it breaks that low, I'm not going to touch it. I was able to get out of the trade green, but I was only able to get out of that trade green. And we caught the bottom on that one, but it made that reversal pattern here. And once it bounced and reversed, I was out of the trade. And from there, it just traded flat. So honestly, I mean, it might not be the worst thing to open up a spread on, maybe somewhere sell $80, $90 calls, or something like that. But until then, to be honest with you, until it starts making its way and breaks $78, I think it absolutely has the probability to go down further from here, but now it has a gap above it, so it could even see a retest of $85 and fill that gap before it goes lower. So, okay.
But you know that Plug, they had earning and they are up 7 point.
Yep. That was one of the ones I wanted to go over because I'm long on Plug.
I am.
It hurts sometimes. It's like I stuck my finger in a plug, but I'm long on it, so I wouldn't mind averaging down anywhere above $28.75 and $30. And yeah, I said averaging down. But anyway,
Earnings must have been solid. I didn't actually. I heard they had earnings. I didn't realize that they gapped up like that.
Yeah, I can really quickly. Let's go over.
Not like that strong move, just like $1 something, $2.
Yeah.
Here we go. So we have Plug Power announces 2020 second quarter results. Plug Power reported quarterly results are losses of negative 18 cents per share. This is a 500% decrease over the losses of 3 cents per share from this same period last year. The company reported quarterly sales of 124.60 million, which beat the analyst's consistent estimate of 114 million by 9.28%. This is an 83.5% increase over the sales of 68 million the same period last year. The guidance, they raised their F2 guidance. Are you just going to post the same article twice? Okay, it just says they reported better than expected Q2 sale results and raised FY21 or next quarter's guidance. It looks like revenue guidance hasn't been issued. Technicals, company, I don't need that. Sorry, I'm just reading any other details.
So it sounds like revenue is up.
And that's what's sent
EPS,
it.
yeah, EPS sounds like it's pretty
Earnings.
bad, right?
Yeah, I think that's if I'm looking at this correctly, that's a negative 153%.
That's what I'm talking about. Growth stocks.
Grow stocks. Let's grow.
Okay, why Fubu just have this green candle after hours? Any Fubu news on you? Do you
Let me
see?
see.
It's fucking Fubo. Oh wow,
Let
actually,
me look.
pump the jam. Yeah, that thing is.
Virtual Investors Conference was announced with Oppenheimer.
Can I check Tesla?
Let's see.
Yeah, if you guys will, we're streaming this live on YouTube right now, so you guys are more than welcome to hop on there and drop your request in there.
Bite is land hold.
Huh?
Bite is land hold.
Tesla and hold.
Yo, I know he said bite this and hold when it comes to Tesla.
No, buy Tesla and hold. Georgie is a big advocate of Tesla, so obviously he's going to promote it. But it's a good company, obviously. Here's the way I look at it.
Best company.
The way I look at it is, if you invest in Tesla, you're not investing in Tesla. You're investing in Elon Musk.
Yes.
Just think of it that way.
So
Yes.
inspirational.
Yes. Yes. That's right.
This promotion has been paid for by Elon.
So I have an interesting setup here for you guys on Tesla.
Let's see it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm waiting.
Georgie, cover your ears. Just.
Oh no!
Just turn it off.
Going short.
I'm just kidding. Okay. So long. If you're looking at a higher time frame, it appears that we have some sort of flag. I think at a minimum on Tesla, we see consolidation within the $700 range. That's the bullish outlook here, and that's while the 9-day moving average, whole ribbon indicator, and 20-day moving average catch up. Now both of those are moving up, but I will and the consolidation right now is happening on low volume, and the push up happened on relatively low volume. So everything that's happening on Tesla is low conviction. Even though Tesla makes $30, $40 runs in a day, it's still, that's just normal for Tesla. Tesla does have a gap. That's the gap right now that it's trying to go into. It's a very, very tiny gap to a 735. That's why my target has remained. I will say in Tesla's favor, the whole ribbon indicator just flipped green. That hurt. Is that Ellie?
It was just,
Is that ghost to you?
yeah,
Bruh.
it's an intruder in the background again.
It's the intruder. It's the intruder, y'all.
No, bro, you scared me. All I heard was there's an intruder. I was like, what?
I'm a calm guy. He's dead already. I'm just kidding. There was an intruder. I'm just kidding.
He's
I'm about to take a
dead.
private jet and come to you.
On my way.
Who did I watch on YouTube to start? Tim.
Wait, I'll send you Mobocop.
Yeah, there you go. Send Mobocop.
There you go. Mobo, please come and help me. Don't arrest me. Just ignore anything you see in my cabinet. I'm just kidding. No. So Tim, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know. There's no other way to say this. I got hella ADHD, man, and I have a hard time focusing. I'm one of those people who is extremely hard-headed in some ways, where I can't just sit there and listen to somebody tell me how to do it. I gotta go do it. Like, as soon as they say, like, this is the structure in which you do it, I turn the video off. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay, cool. And like, I just go and so a lot of what I've done, and I paper traded for a while I had, like, cause I ran out of BP all the time when I first started trading. And so like I would paper trade for forever. And I would just like crazy size into positions. And then I think one of the things that helped me the most was talking to other people. So I will say I've been sent videos. Tom Nash is somebody that I really like for fundamentals. I really like Patrick Boyle. He's a quant trader out of London. But I think Georgie owns that firm now. But no, just kidding. So I mean, like, there's guys that I listen to, but they're not really breaking things down on for me to learn. I kind of like, and I'm just putting my individual perspective out. This isn't how you do this. So I just don't have any like recommendations, I guess, for like the basic candles. If anybody else does, I think my recommendations, like, we have videos in our Discord, and we have like a whole channel with candlestick patterns. And there, I've even thought of having our graphic designer put together a big book of charts, just literally a book of charts that you could like double as like a children's book. You know, it'd be like super easy. So, yeah, I that was probably not a great answer, but
Is
it's on
what is
YouTube.
he struggling with? Okay.
He said, who did he watch on YouTube to start? You're an awesome teacher, by the way. I've learned a lot from this. I know basically nothing about candles and stuff. So, I mean...
I will say, like, and I know it's probably going to sound really boring, and it's just take it for what it is. Find the PDF. You'll find it online for free somewhere. It's a PDF for day trading for dummies or trading for dummies. And
Hold on,
it
I
literally
got it.
teaches you have it? It teaches you the basics of, like, candlesticks and the basics of like simple patterns.
Yeah, and that's so you can build a foundation and get an idea, because that's the hard. I would say that there is no one way to learn. If you go into the market just reading books before you actually take a step into the trading direction, you're gonna struggle, because I don't know. It's just like reading about a culture and then going there. Like, you're going to embarrass yourself, you know, like, because you think you have a misconception or a preconceived notion. I think that there's not a one way to do it. I think there's so many different ways that you can be hands-on. So when you learn something, you can try it out, whether that be paper trading or with a small position or whatever the case may be. Even if you're just back testing strategies, you can do that on TradingView. You can back test a strategy, you know, using whatever the setup is or whatever the strategy that you were looking for. You can back test those things. I think that when you narrow in, like, I'm not saying you are, but like, the YouTubes are great, and like books are great, but like there's so many different ways to learn how to do this, that just doing it and then going back to your educational resources as you go. I think a learn as you earn type of mentality is probably best with this. So I don't know if that's a good answer. So
Yeah, that's something like when you are learning, always learn and practice at the same time.
yeah, you don't learn soccer by reading about it, but anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, you are right. You're just gonna learn and practice. You're gonna look at the chart. You're gonna stare at the chart. You need to study how it's forming, how's the candle opening and the closing. So all this stuff you got to watch it. And the most important point, when you're learning, don't just keep learning, because you're gonna exhaust yourself, and don't keep giving yourself an excuses. Yeah, I'm still learning. I want to learn more. That's the way. Look, you go to the school, then you go university, and you end up learning. Then you're gonna face the life. You're gonna face the job.
Yeah, and a lot of people will go to college and then they get the job and they're like, "What the fuck?" You know, like so like it's just one of those things where if you're in a good environment to learn, I think that's probably the best move as an education. And it doesn't have to be if you have. Here's the thing. There's if you, let's say you're watching somebody on YouTube and you just really relate to what they're saying, you understand what they're saying, you know, that's probably going to be a good learning resource for you, because this is a personality based. There's a lot of people whose my style doesn't work for them, or you know, Manny's or Atlas or whoever, it just doesn't work for them. Rolly, you know, a lot of new traders. You know, they're not used to holding long, you know, so they you know, day two want to know about the position, and Rolly's, got his feet in the sand, not worried about a thing. So, there's the only way is to find somebody or a certain source that is easy for you to comprehend, explains things in a way, and then just ask questions, because they're going to come up naturally. And when you answer the questions as they come, they come from a place of curiosity, because you're likely dealing with that issue in the moment, and therefore that lesson's going to be solidified in your brain as like a natural part of the learning, rather than something that you tried to force in by 4 hours of reading. Rant over. Back to stocks. Yeah, and if you're in the Discord, ask a question. You're probably gonna get like 9,000 answers. So, okay, so let's get to. I did cover ZI, but which is not nearly our ZI was way more exciting than ZY. I mean, just period. It was way better price. I'm just kidding, Georgie.
ZY run $1. Now I run $2-3.
Yeah. Now that I'm just teasing. So can I go over this one? I don't know about earnings. I don't know why they fell. Yes, they have a gap all the way to $33, and they're at 14. I think your nearest target is 1765 based on where your HMA is at. But a lot of times when you fall like that, it's not gonna be a big giant candle. I have no idea what this is, what they do, but they are at all-time lows, and I think this is a newly IPO'd company, correct? Or something?
Yeah,
looks
it's November last year. November.
Oh, I'm showing April.
Which was ZI?
No.
ZY.
ZY.
ZY is to April.
That was your thing, right? You did ZY, I did ZI.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
April. I'm trying to read to see right now. They've had some interesting things, but apparently Kathy's been buying shares.
Kathy.
Yeah.
ZY.
ZY?
Yeah.
Sorry. ZY?
I need somebody
ZY.
I need somebody to find Kathy Woods on Tinder or Bumble.
Hook us up, bro. Give us the 411 in advance. That's what Kathy's getting.
The news that I have right now, Bragle, Eagle, and Squire nice name. A PCA nationally recognized shareholders' rights law firm announced the class action lawsuit, which has been filed in the United States District Court for the District of Northern California on behalf of investors that purchase or otherwise acquired Zemergen Inc. or whatever company securities pursuant / or traceable to the offering documents issued and connected with Zymergen's April 2020 initial offering. Looks like
No problem. Roblox had they have lawsuit as well. They are running good. So
I love lawsuits.
yeah,
Wait,
Roblox they have
pause.
lawsuits, you know.
I don't. I hate them.
Yeah, they got in trouble for something, right, Georgie? Like with spending, like with the purchasing or something like that. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, no, it ruined my whole setup too. I was pissed.
That's when it pulled back, but it bounced. I mean, it came back, right?
I mean, didn't really have it. Kathy's holding this shit up. So is Nancy, dude. But both it bounced off IPO.
Bro,
I would like Nancy on Tinder, not Kathy.
Nancy's good on Nancy on Tinder. Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy's an OG, bro. Yo, actually,
wow.
Look at the Roblox setup on the daily real quick. Sorry to interrupt, Garrett. Check that out.
Post it in the this man is not looking at my channel. Or my Twitter.
Are you sharing right now?
I'm literally sharing that chart. But no, my channel, I posted this chart a couple days ago. Roblox has that falling wedge on the daily.
Yeah, okay, so.
Yeah.
My bad.
There you go.
Oops.
The whole internet sees this, dude. Trust me. Like, literally, I've been looking at, like, everybody sees this setup, so.
Yeah, it's getting ready.
Yeah, if you caught Roblox, yeah, hold on, let me
Oh,
read.
and it's at an inside day today. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we could rip tomorrow through that resistance and hit easily 83.53. We break through that, we have 86.
Yeah. Um,
Mm,
let's real quick. It's 9:51, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start rocking out these requests, starting with Space and Max R, because they're my favorites and I love them. Not Space though. So Space and After Hours here retested and got stopped out by its previous support. So if you take a look right here, let me get rid of all of these crazy ass white lines.
what a wick.
Oh yeah.
What a
So
wick.
I still see a bot now. If this thing flat out reverses tomorrow, then this is a bear flag on Space, and I do suspect that this is the turning point. So below $30, below 30.50, if it even gets close, I'll take a short position out and I'll take this down to $28, and that's that previous low. Now, that's only and you got to think. Okay, they have ticket sales. We've got a September launch. Do we fill the gap and pull back, get down there where we know that we'll likely run once that happens? Hopefully, the market has already seen some type of retracement or something of that nature, but the gap down there starting at 23 is still begging to get filled. So, earnings on Space, on fundamentals, there's still nothing there. And you still have the question on whether or not Space is even going to make money, whether that once they do start. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if I've seen anybody cover that. But like, if you look at the price of the tickets and then look at the schedules of the launch, like they're gonna need a couple different planes, and they're gonna have to launch. You know, hopefully it's like a weekly thing. It's not like a hey Space. It's like a just like oh yeah, bots. I'm going to Space. See you, mom. Like, you know, that kind of thing. Then maybe it's a little bit more feasible. But there's still a lot of questions as to whether or not Space is feasible. So I would watch it. Huh?
Yeah, you can ask yourself how affordable is the tickets.
Yeah.
250K, right?
Yeah, it's 250K. So I mean, like, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I think they accept food stamps. So you know, you might even be able to. So it's everybody gets in there. So the earnings should be
Yeah,
great.
you might be able to get a second mortgage on your home.
It's not expensive though.
Should I buy a home or go into space for
Go to space.
8 minutes with Richard
Jordan,
Branson?
it's for most people, it's expensive though. You got to think the average United States, the average United States, yeah, the average United States
is expensive for
We-
general public.
We don't live
yeah,
in
for general
in
public,
Big Ben,
100%.
dude. All right, so this one, I would just simply keep it. The 200-day EMA is at 35.75. Downtrend here on Space is at $34. Break $34. Watch the volume. We know what volume, so going right back to what we talked about before, we know what volume we need to see. It looks like here on the hourly, we got 24 million shares, even on downtrend here. So we'll go with this. So it looks like anywhere above 5 to 6 million shares traded is enough to keep this thing running or churning to the upside. So I would look for similar movement within Space right now, as it is only getting around 500K. So very, very minimal volume there. As far as MaxR is concerned, I love it so much, and I just wish they would stop shorting it, because it just is enough to piss off the Pope. But we did retest the very same downtrend that we broke quite some time ago. I actually, not a lot of people caught this play with me, but I signaled MaxR for a $40 swing, and that one ended up going in the money. Surprisingly, when MaxR runs, it will pay you really, really well, because it's still relatively unknown, and when those calls go in the money, I don't know who buys them, man, but they got pockets. But anyway, so today, bounce right here. You made a long-legged doji, right? So you got some indecision here for sure. Day after earnings, gap above us, so we would like to see a potential push up off that gap. a push up into that gap, but I think that will likely go alongside with space. So if space doesn't end up going up, then if you look at MaxR, I mean, it did bounce off a really critical 2750 level as well. So I mean, it could start a double bottom here. It could start a recovery, but it also could continue to slide. But it's pretty oversold. I think that this one's just going to be watching price action because I'm a little disappointed in the movement here on MaxR. It's such I don't know. The company is so damn important to like technology and just I don't know, just so undervalued in my opinion. Maybe I should just do a full DCF or some shit on that one, but.
The one I will say that's really interesting to kind of watch along with MaxR is OSAT. It's got the float 700,000 shares. Or no, yeah. Is it 700,000 or is it 7 million? I think it's something ridiculously low.
Yeah.
But like any type of crazy good news. Okay, that's interesting. The data is no longer available on the regular float. Shares outstanding is 3 million.
What?
So it's
MaxR?
so shares outstanding is 3. No, on OSAT.
Oh, okay. Oh, word.
Yeah. But float, I remember seeing it at 700,000, which is extremely low. So any type of crazy news, similar sector trade, would absolutely just run.
Yeah. I think MaxR just simply runs in sympathy, and honestly, I have January calls on MaxR for like $85. And those are my long term, and one of the reasons why is because I think, and I often like, I think about it before I go to bed in the shower. Like I don't know why, but I'm like, someone's gonna fucking buy MaxR. Like it just randomly pops up in my head. I'll just be walking my cat, you know, and it just pops up in my head, you know, MaxR. Somebody's gonna buy it.
What would be interesting?
I don't walk my cat. I'm just kidding. I used to. I don't walk her anymore. She's too chunky.
She's too old for that now, huh?
She is actually. She's 11 years old.
What I was thinking? What would be interesting is if what's Starlink? What if Starlink bought MaxR?
It's definitely probable. I mean, they need a lot of cash on hand. But I mean, if you think about it, SiriusXM just bought another satellite from them. How many new companies are going to want to send satellites in the next 10 years? EV companies, I'm sure they're going to want to have some type of satellite company or satellite technology. Shit, you got Elon trying to make fucking Starlink, you know. So, excuse my language. What made you? Who knows, Rob? Who knows? All right, so let's keep it rolling. What other? We got Space, Charge Point, Lemonade, and AAL. You got it. And ASTR. Yeah, okay, got you. All right. So we'll do Lemonade really quickly. So Lemonade, rough earnings. This is a previous bounce for Lemonade. It didn't finish the day with much strength at all. You see buyers taking it from 77 all the way up to 79, which is basically holding that candle on this support. We're actually going to edit this a little bit. I don't know why it's so thick. There we go. So right here, bouncing off of this previous, you can see that this is where Lemonade has bounced in previous sessions. There's a gap above us, the whole ribbon indicator is above us, and all of our moving averages are well above us. So there's a high likelihood that either one, we fill this gap and with low volume and melt up and then continue with a downtrend, whether that be using this downtrend of the top of the pennant or just hitting the 200-day EMA. But I would suspect we see a small gap fill if we don't make a lower low. Again, I would probably need to go take a closer look at the earnings and what impact that may be having. I do see a little downtrend here. I think with Lemonade, earnings earnings is going to be a key indicator, or excuse me, not earnings, but volume again is going to be, we want to see continued volume going into tomorrow. And anywhere above 81.32, 81.35, and I think you would see a trip to 80, 84 bucks. And then from there, you're likely going to bleed up, touch that gap fill, and then we'll check it from there. So AAL, I had this one charted out last night, and I was like, I might take this one, and then I woke up this morning, and I forgot all about it. Actually, I was looking at Delta as well. But this one, as you can see, downtrend broken here. And what you had a couple of days ago was a retest. Now you had 2 low volume days, but you pretty much flatlined at this support on American Airlines at basically 20 bucks, but 19.50 is where airlines kind of got stopped out at. Where did that accent come from? Stopped out yet? Past life or some shit. Anyway, American Airlines. I'd be talking so much, dude. I'm gonna start talking in tongues. 21.35. I could suspect seeing that was a strong bounce you got for airlines, and after a break and downtrend, climb back above that whole ribbon indicator. I would suspect that you could at a minimum go and see that $22 level if you continue the same momentum that you saw today. You have earnings, I think, far enough away to give you time to run. I think this is purely based on how America responds, and really the world responds, if you're looking at international flights, to the COVID-19 Delta variant. Also, there's another variant. It's the Delta variant Plus, which is...
Oh, like the iPhone Plus.
Yeah, so cool. after that one, what's going to... I told people the other day, what's going to happen is... once they put out the new Delta variant Pro Max, then they're going to start tapering the effectiveness of the viruses previously that came out. So you'll see those kind of die down.
Good night. Good night.
Here you go to bed, Georgie. Georgie, go to bed on that one.
See you. No variant, nothing. Just sleep.
Just sleep. All right, brothers. See you tomorrow.
Anyway, have a good.
See you good night, bro.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Atlas, you listening to Future?
The rapper?
I can see what people listen. I don't know why, but I can see what people listen to on Discord. I just hover my mouse above their name. I can't see what they're doing. He's listening to. Let's see what he's listening to. He's listening to Low Life featuring The Weeknd by Future. On the Evil. Not you, Atlas Jr.
Oh, Atlas Jr.
I wouldn't be telling you about yourself.
I was like, I'm listening to Future. I was like, no, I'm not. I was like,
Dustin Holt asked. We also have ASTR EEENF. We'll take a look at those. ASTR. Well, my fingers very naturally typed that. This one is beyond my charting help. I think at this point, it's kind of off. It looks catalyst based. It looks like it's retesting. It's whether that was IPO or public offering. This one retesting that very same low at $10.35. Also, the 50-day EMA. I do not know what this company does, so that's probably crucial when you're looking at the setup here. It is very obvious that you broke a downtrend here, so if you go and start off of this high and you use this similar wick here, you can see there's some respect to that angle on that wick there. I'm actually going to bring that down just a tad. There we go. So if you look here, we got a clean break in downtrend, a little tap there, and then you sat flat. I have told people this: if you break downtrend and you don't make a lower low, excuse me, and you just sit flat in range, especially if it's a meme stock, watch it, because it will likely, if there's nobody taking it down, it just needs time until somebody takes it up. And a lot of times insider buying or if you have a low flow and you know that somebody's about to or an insider is about to purchase an ass of shares, then like you may have some that maybe what that is, I'm not sure, but that looks news based. Looking at the volume comparatively, this thing has never had volume like that. So
What
whatever.
ticker is it, bro?
It's ASTR. If you have anything to add on that one, I'm going to move on. But I would say that it did hold that 9-day moving average. HMA curled up underneath it. You have EMA crossovers here on the daily. Again, your moving averages are going to be lagging, so you're not going to see any straight lines here. But I would put a price target of around $13 if it continues to bounce. And whatever news that sent it up off that bottom, if it's big enough to continue pushing it, then you also look back the last time that we saw volume of this nature. This thing ripped from $10 all the way to 22. So we'll be watching that one. I'm going to set some alerts on the volume, but 1325. If you get past that, I think there's some room to run. But again, I would need to know exactly what this company does or what they imply. So ASTR is a rocket company that was started by Bill Gates. They just got a contract with the Department of Defense. Okay, that's pretty badass. What kind of rockets? Hurting people rockets or space rockets? I'm assuming space rockets.
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
So,
more like sending satellites and doing stuff like that.
supplies to Jeffrey
Supplies
on the moon.
Yeah, they
What?
landed. I was trying to think. I was like, why did I know this? Why do I know this ticker? This ticker sounds so familiar. Yeah, they landed that contract earlier today. And let's see what else. They have a launch set up for August, and that contract is worth a couple $1 million, like a decent amount of cash. Also, this is a sympathy to space.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like a sympathy to space, and then you've got, I mean, shit, Bill Gates behind it. Of course, I mean, he's got his own Bill Gates FUD, his Jeffrey FUD, but I don't think that's going to have anything to do with that.
No.
As long as he's got billions of dollars, that's all that matters. Oh, too much coffee. Why am I drinking coffee right now, dude? I'm nuts. Yeah, right now, I'd say you touched that 1175 level. And that is a previous breakdown, or that level that you bounced off of after that big dump. So volume and more positive news, but this looks a bit like a very reactive stock. So Astrospace.
Yeah, it is a lower float too. It is a lower float.
Got you. So lower float as well. And for those of people who are new, what does that imply?
Do they? So typically a lower float means that the paper is thin, and if paper is thin, that means any large amount of volume will cause the price to move very easily in either direction.
Got it.
So volatility is higher.
There you go. All right, so we've got I got Lemonade AL Spot. Yeah, for sure, I can do Spot. If you guys have any requests right here on our YouTube streaming live, make sure to type those in, and I'll get to your request here. We've been streaming for almost 2 hours here, so we're going to cut this off in about 10 minutes. If you want to, I don't know why that was deleted, but if you want to, yeah, I'm doing EENF right here. I got you, brother. It's just simplestacksinvesting.com. If you go through that, that's how you can get into the chat at the moment. Right now, our free section is closed until we get caught up and integrated. So, okay, so EENF, EENF, is it EENF? Yeah, 88 Energy. Is that on the OTC? Yeah, it is for sure. Did I get that right? Let me double check.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, guys. All right. Yep, EENF. So it's hard for me to chart something like this, my guy, and I don't mean that like I don't have the skill to do it. It's like there's not a lot of price points or pivots or rejection points. You have a large gap. I mean, I don't say that to discourage you about the stock. I don't know what is going on. They're on the OTC. I can look at this on the lower time frame, on the hourly, and I can tell you that it looks like it's moved this way before. So if you go back and look at the beginning of July, you saw where it started to gap around in a similar fashion. You also saw where the whole ribbon indicator started to thin out and reverse. So it is looking like whether you can, now don't let these gaps fool you. There's a candle here, right? So just imagine that you have a candle here, right? And if you look at that, that's a bear flag. So anywhere below this HMA, basically at 34 cents, this thing is going to continue pulling back. So again, I don't know exactly whether this is a feasible company or one that has a future. It's in a gap, and the gap could get filled all the way, I mean, really all the way to 85 cents. Or point, I guess 8 cents. Yeah, wow, oh, I missed a whole zero. Yeah, so not even a full 85 cents, but 0.085. So yeah, man, I wish I could offer more on this one, but I would have to like know about it. It's not very chartable. Small Queendom, Netflix, Snap. I doubled your money in a month. We did. Sweet. Unless you're not talking to us, but whoever did, that's sweet. Varun, yes, we can take a look at Target. Target. Wow, what did I just say? Target. That's Target in New York. Sorry. Target. I'm sorry. I can do that because I'm friends with Nick. Oh, you did. Nice job, dude.
Off. But I will catch you in the AM, sir.
Alrighty, we'll see you again. Thank you so much for hopping on, man.
Of course, man. Catch you in the morning.
Yeah, see you in the morning, man. By the way, those of you who are on Discord, guys, remember tomorrow, Flow, all of our bots are coming online. So remember to mute the channels that you don't want, or they are going to burn your battery in your phone or whatever the hell. So you're going to just bloop, 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 bloop for hours on end. So they are going to be going off all day. We're going to find some way to narrow them down. So that way, if you're looking specifically for swings, we'll have permissions for those. So you'll click a react, and it will give you a certain, like if you don't care about scalps, you can make it so that you don't even see that channel. So, Brian, okay, we'll go over that, and I'll finish with Brian's question. We'll answer that. So, okay, so we have Snapchat. We're gonna go over that one here. Okay, so we have been talking about Snapchat. I actually have a swing on that one that I held from yesterday, and I took profit on a little bit of it today because the price action wasn't even close to what I wanted. It's pretty simple here. As far as a new high, you can see that there's a big line of respect here. You can see why. The reason why I'm setting this line here is because of the multiple rejections off of this very point. So you get a deadpan rejection here, multiple wicks trying but never being able to secure that, and bodies sitting on top of this as well. So that being said, for Snapchat, this level of 77 and 78 is a big level that Snapchat is having a hard time pushing and breaking. If you go and step out to the daily, you have a very, very large gap above you, and today you're resting on the 9 HMA and the 9-day moving average, both bullish moving averages. Now, on top of that, you have the whole ribbon indicator, which is flipped green and is cruising up to kind of me. So you want to usually see, whenever you're in an uptrend, you want to see that whole ribbon indicator show continuation. But the closer that it gets to the price action, that means that there's a better chance of it starting to thin. So as this whole ribbon indicator starts to kind of progress, and this is a momentum indicator, so just as it starts to thin, it lets you know that the move behind this to the downside is not very strong. But in retrospect, if you see the ribbon here, it is very, very strong. Nice and wide, big volume, same thing here. So in this case, we have a very large gap beneath us. Now, if the market sees a correction, this could be plenty of room for us to head back down to the $60 level, which is totally plausible. That being said, right now, with everything that Snap's doing, I want a clean break. And I think that if you continue to stay in range for Snapchat, if the cues go up, and we talked about the setup on the cues, if you guys haven't already watched that, the cues could end up pushing and going up to I said 368.85 or 372, excuse me. So 370 and 372 level are two, that price range in there is where we could see the cues push. If Snap doesn't move with that, then I would imagine that it's going to continue to stay in range. This one broke out of a nice daily flag, but as you can see, still hasn't mustered enough volume in order to break these highs. So sticking to our prerequisites and our rules, this is one that we want to let the trade come to us. Even if you want to start off this low, it does appear that this is going to be where you consolidate. I see Snap pulling back tomorrow to around 76.50, and then potentially getting one more bounce and retest of the 77.70 level. Volume's not great. It's a little higher than average, but not great. So, that's interesting. Okay, too much coffee. Why? Why do I do this? Yeah, you gotta let the trade come to you. Now, I think you guys have seen me do it. I did it on UPS. And this is the beautiful thing, I have to be honest with myself as well as you guys, but I took early entry on a trade that didn't come to me. It basically bounced. Really, we took it down to 188, and then after that, it's pretty much stayed in range. And so, letting the trade come to me on UPS would mean a clean break with relatively decent volume below 190. And if not, then I would be watching this one above 195 for a potential push to the upside. And with the target of around 196, and I would let the trade come to me. So if it's in this range here, I'm not trading it. So this is where I let as long as UPS is here, I don't do it. No. You just look at the chart and you go, no. Microsoft, I know nobody requested this one, but I just saw it on my chart. If the Qs rip tomorrow, guys, I think we may test 300 buckaroos on that. Just reminded me of Dunkaroos. Delicious. I'm getting tired now. Microsoft really tightly coiled here on support. Nice bounce up today. Actually snuck up on me as it always does, hitting that 289 290 mark. I want to see UPS hold that 9. If the Qs run, then I think Microsoft hits 292, and we could continue to consolidate in this range and easily see 300 bucks if the Qs push going into next week. But that's highly unlikely if we end up with shitty data. So, okay. Let's see here. What was the next one? Swappy, Amazon and Google, got it. And those are going to be the last ones. EENF. Oh, I just reread that message. Okay. Netflix. Let's do Netflix. So Netflix here, it looks like, I think we talked about this today, pretty much a double bottom off of the 200-day EMA. It's one of my favorite EMAs. A lot of strength there. It's going up probably to retest the 228, or if you're really pushing the 538, 528, and then the top of this whole ribbon indicator at 532. That's where I would be watching for Netflix to hit that high. Now, keep in mind, you have a nice MACD rollover here, but you do not have volume. Now, Netflix is weird because it doesn't need volume that much. So if you end up pushing 532, the top of that whole ribbon indicator, I think that Netflix could easily go and reclaim 540. And that's, you know, looking at the volume, it's on average of what it usually is, maybe a little bit lower. And for the most part, the price action within the market is lower than usual, but higher in short term, like it's big spikes. So looking at Netflix going into tomorrow, I have a price mark right here at 526.75. If you break that with higher volume, or I'd say decent volume, 533 or 534.30, and then finally 536.50 would be two levels that I'd be watching for some resistance there. If you're in weeklies, you should probably be out at your psychological number, or any psychological number, and leaving runners. So once it hits 530, you know, at that point you can expect some resistance and some choppiness. At the most, I think 540 if it's something that ended up going parabolic. But it is Friday, it is earnings. We are coming out with a lot of data tomorrow, and if this data is no good, then it could be a turning point within the market. So yo, dude, I at you and someone's impersonating me. Yeah, there's a lot of pages impersonating me as of the last week, which is weird, because that's just weird. It's just weird. You stop that right now. All right. Anyway, I got you, John. John the bum. I don't like calling you that, dude. It makes me feel bad. I know that's your screen name. So Netflix tomorrow again, 526.75. Good volume. You want to, and so far I talk about this a whole lot. You want to find a correlating moving average. So find one that shows the most respect. Let me see here. Let me go to the 30-minute. A lot of the times it's good to find a time frame in which the stock respects. So if you see here, look at that curve. See how that 9-day moving average almost bends the stock? And you can see here, you hold that as well. So here you get a little bit choppy. So it's good to kind of, this is the 30-minute on Netflix. So for me, normally I'll when I'm scalping something, the moving average that is the most bullish will be my stop loss. So if it crosses below that with any type of bearish momentum and a loss of volume, I'll cut it. Volume was relatively high, but you can see on the RSI on multiple different time frames, you are overbought. So if anything, Netflix could see a simple retest of 521 if it doesn't break out. So the HMA is well above you as well. So HMA is another strong, is a very, very strong resistance and support. So if it's below you, it can be a very strong bounce spot. So all right, so we have Target. I'll take a look at Dustin. I'll take a look at EENF. I just saw that other comment, and I'll take a look at what they got going on. Okay, so Netflix, Target. Tarjay. What's up, baby? All right, so it's kind of hard to believe that we would pull back from there, but it does appear that you're making an ascending triangle here. So I would suspect on Target, yeah, right there. So above 262. 262, good push, nice volume. You're holding pretty good volume here. I think you go for a retest. 262.50. That's going to be the point where you could expect a potential rejection. Now, this would be, you know, I don't know if you want to consider this the base, or what you would want to consider the base, but I would suspect that if this continues to consolidate, you'll make that ascending triangle there. And with the right sentiment, you still have earnings and dividends pretty far away. So this one could hit a new uptrend. The last bounce we got was off the 200-day EMA on this hourly. And if you look at the daily, you've got a nice accumulation here. And a lot of the time for Target, you'll see those accumulations happen quite often. So to be honest with you, I don't like when I see price action like that up at a top. I don't like when I see like big red candles like that. But it has earnings catalyst that is close enough in its future that it could run up. But as I say that, between last earnings and now, earnings happening last quarter at 211, you're now sitting at 264. So the likelihood of Target being priced in on earnings is really, really high. That's a nice big run from earnings, a $60 run. So profit taking could occur. Yes, Brian, I'm going to finish off the your question. So, all right, we got Amazon, NAOV, and then Amazon and Google, and we're done. Okay, so NAOV, you said a squeeze. I do like this one. Yes. So I actually charted this one today, and I don't know what the hell happened to my lines, but they're all over the place. They don't cracked. Okay, so the technology that Vibronics actually brings to the table is pretty revolutionary. So that's pretty damn cool, and it definitely has kind of like a Sava. It has those like heavy medical implications that could definitely help a lot of people. It's one of those breaking research, or groundbreaking disease research and medical breakthroughs, or I would maybe not even a breakthrough, but alleviation of people in pain. So I think that this thing right now it's sitting at 245, but it's definitely accumulating really, really heavy with extremely unusual volume. So if you look here on the daily and you go back, it's never had volume like this except for a few times, and usually when it pumped, it immediately pulled back, and it was a very small wick. Here, as you can see, it's continuing to pump, and you get these big shorts, but like I said, this thing is holding that 9-day moving average, holding that 9 HMA. The volume is well above average. So I would suspect with Nanovibronics, I would watch this one around 280, and especially around these previous highs. But this is one that I think is good long, especially with the implications, or the not implications. What the Nanovibronics technology can be used for. Sorry, I'm getting tired now. Alrighty. Yeah, no problem on Target. So NAOV, of course, it's small and it's very choppy. So it's bilateral, so it can absolutely go either way. And whenever something's in a bilateral pattern, the best you can do is just watch price action. So, what's the difference? Well, you've got the 10-year bond, the 20-year bond. Hold on, I'll get to that. I got people in here. Okay, so Google and Amazon. Okay. So Google is at the top of its HMA, or its whole ribbon indicator and 9-day moving average. That's where we got stopped out today. I'm looking at the chart here on the hourly, and it does look like Google could potentially go and hit the $2,800 level if it bottoms out like it looks like it is doing now. Again, third attempt at resistance, and we do get a break. I would suspect. Let's see here. I would suspect that if we hold the $2,700 level, you could go for a retest and extend that wedge. But I'm thinking a rounded bottom here. So some type of bottom and at least a retest of $2,800. This is all happening on relatively low volume, mind you. That's never anything you want to see, but you can see the whole ribbon indicator. A lot of indicators are flipping. You even got the TTM kind of going off a little bit as well. So Google, to me, with the volume that it has in comparison to what it usually has, I'm not expecting a ton of price action. But again, that the whole top of the whole ribbon indicator even rejected the 277 or the 2775 level. So I wouldn't suspect too much from Google until it actually pushes. And if tomorrow we gap down, and Google is anywhere around 2700, watch this one to potentially pull back into the, not all obviously for the day, but it could head towards 2650. So just keep your eyes peeled for that one. Amazon is at support. You could argue it's under, or you could argue it's on. It all depends. In my opinion, I think it's on support. There's no use for something to just sit underneath it. Amazon may at some point retest 34.75. I don't know if they want this thing to go any lower. And again, usually when something either makes a giant new high or gap down, gap up, usually consolidation occurs like UPS, like Lemonade, until those moving averages catch up. So the best thing is here above basically 3,400. Let the trade come to you, and then 3,400 you have the 3415, 3420 level right above you. So there's not much room until you break that level where you could see 3,500. So but this one is at that daily support, so you're sitting on support. Anywhere lower, anywhere around 3250, then this thing has broken that trend and is more than likely, right? More than likely going to stay in the same channel that it did for a long ass time. This thing was in this channel starting all the way from July of last year, so an entire year. I almost made it in there and fell right back down. So I would suspect that if anything, pull this down here, that the gap gets filled, whether it's methodically or in per burst. But I would suspect, whether it ends up like this, that you could, man, come on, Garrett. You could end up seeing a retest here and just, not making any new significant highs, yet still filling that gap. That's kind of a wild setup there. I mean, it could go either way, but I'm just showing you guys that it just because there's a big gap doesn't mean that something's going to just parabolically fill it. Oftentimes it takes time. So okay, now not a problem. So Thursday, and excuse me. So Thursday, in particular, is a bad day to trade options that do not have high volume and high volatility. And the reason why it's not good to trade weeklies on Thursdays, well, Wednesday is when it starts, but Thursday is when they call it Theta Thursday, because if you're not getting movement towards the direction or if you're not seeing movement and usually strong movement at that, and if you're outside of the money, your calls are going to lose value. And especially if you were to swing them, you're already guaranteed to lose a certain amount. So let's say that we're looking Of course, swapping not a problem. Let's say that we take a 34.50 bet on Amazon, right? Expiring tomorrow. And Amazon shoots up and hits 34.15. At some point, those calls are we're gonna see people buy them, and it's gonna change the delta rate. But you're also mostly going to see, buyers come in, and those contracts are going to push in anticipation, go in the money. And then if it rejected, let's say it rejects, and it falls back, you're going to feel your contract will lose value very fast. And I'm like trying to find the like right words, but it hurts. It really does, because you can be up 100+%, and in one 5-minute candle, you can be down. So if you're new, weekly options, if you learned to trade weekly options and that's how you grew your account, and you did it blindly or you did it without really knowing how, you got lucky, stop now and start practicing with going out a week longer, because you will impulsive trades on Thursday and Friday is the reason why people blow their account. Stop taking boredom trades when there's no volume. Your highest, you should, it's like have standards, for your purchases, I guess, in a way. Like your standards should be that you need high volume, the highest volume, the finest volume. No, it's okay. But you need that good volume. You need a strong push. And with weeklies on Thursday and Friday, like SQ was a perfect example of something of a weekly contract that is low risk, high reward, because you could have bought something very far out of the money for very little money and had it double or triple or quadruple in worth. But as soon as that falls, right? So let's say you had a 290 call, right? And you bought that shit when it was at 270, just as a whatever, let's see what happens. And somehow, it ends up running there, or it did. It runs right underneath that. Your call is going to be worth a lot. But as soon as that thing reverses, so as soon as this red candle comes in, not only are you're going to lose money on that contract, you're going to lose a lot, because you almost went in the money. You were pumping on IV. You were pumping on that potential that it squeezes and goes in the money, and then that just immediately dies out. And so the contract's worth, because it's a weekly and because the Greeks are not in your favor, you will see the contract decline really quickly. So if you guys see an opportunity and you're new, now I'm not trying to discourage you. If you see a high risk, high reward play that could potentially pay a Square, Amazon running really, really hard. I mean, Amazon on a Friday can pay you big bucks. If even if it falls, Amazon is fun to play when it moves. And I mean, honestly, it's hit support 3 times, so it could very easily go and retest that level that we were talking about earlier. So if you decided you wanted to take that bet, you wanted to go ahead and say, I think that Amazon is going to go down to 33.60, right? And so you take a 33.50 bet, and this thing goes down and it hits your mark and you don't TP in time. That contract as soon as it bounced off support, you're going to lose so much value. So weeklies are it's a double-edged sword, and that goes for almost anything in the market. If it looks good, and there's a reason why it's cheap. And a lot of times when a contract loses 30% of its value as it goes through the week, it's probably not going to go in the money. And I think something like 80% of contracts don't go ever expire. 80% of contracts expire worthless. So your goal with end of the day or expiring contracts is to be in and out as quickly as possible, and when you're leaving runners, right, which is totally okay. I want people to learn to leave runners when they see good volume. But when you're leaving those runners, you're leaving something that you're okay with risking. As far as like, let's say you bought 10 contracts at $50 a piece, and this thing pumps, and your contracts, you're selling them at 135 or 185. And then you end up taking profit on the majority of them, and you leave a runner you know, at that point, that's where the risk, you lighten your risk, and you can kind of explore where that can go before the end of the day. But otherwise, taking full-size positions on weeklies, you better have a good reason, and you better have high conviction or a good exit strategy, because you can get burned, and you're going to get burned worse chasing on a Friday than you will. That doesn't mean that you won't do it, but yeah, no problem, Brian. And you got this, man. If you're a new option trader and I think I use the example quite often of a dirty room when you were a kid. You know, when your room got a little too dirty, mom told you to clean it up, and then you're sitting in your room and you're like, where the hell do I start? You know what I mean? And you get a little bit cleaned over there. I have ADHD, so when that shit happened to me, oh my God, like I would be paralyzed. Do I pick up my clothes first or my books? You know, but yeah. So I mean, take it as the when learning opportunities, as long as you're in it, are going to always continue to present themselves. So if you're new, just keep pushing, and as long as you want to learn, keep your risk light, and keep pushing. So. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will not be live tomorrow night, but we will be live tomorrow morning. If you guys are not in the chat, you're interested in joining, or just want a free trial, that's on simplestacksinvesting.com. That link's below in this video here. Otherwise, we will be on YouTube tomorrow if you guys just want to absorb that free information. And then hopefully you guys, if we don't see you, hopefully you guys have a wonderful weekend. And remember that we have, I'm just going to end this on the news of, we have a lot of news at 8:30 in the morning that can potentially decide where the market goes for the rest of the day. So I'm glad you're having fun, man. Having fun while you do this is going to help a whole lot. So. All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Leaving likes on the thing, and those of you who shared this on Twitter earlier, again, I really, really appreciate that. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry, I was reading one of those messages, but yeah, let's have some fun tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get some good movement. But all right, guys, thank you guys so much. See you tomorrow.